Varus is banned. Origen do not opt to ban Azir, which could have been a potential first pick. Instead, Schalke will decide to do that as well. So for Schalke, a small pivot. They banned Jim, Karma, and Syndra game one. Now it is, of course, Varus, Syndra, Azir.
So if Schalke don't decide to first pick Viktor here, I think the matchup Fox wants is to play Cassiopeia into it. He has played a bunch of Cassiopeia in the past. I don't think he has played it on stage yet, but I know for a fact that Fox likes that Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia does fine into the Viktor, but I guess I'm completely wrong.
First pick, malzahar. I mean, as a malzahar player, by the way, I just need to quickly update. We are on patch 6.13, and I have just heard that Kennen will be disabled for the rest of the weekend. It is to do with a bug when he interacts with a Morgana and his ultimate. So no Kennen. It is only relevant because Vitality have played that, and they're over on the other stream. Let's get back to this one. Malzahar, blind, first pick. Young Buck?
I do want to add that our plan for tomorrow is thrown out the window now because of that Kennen.
Well, that sucks. I apologize about that. But what do you think of this malzahar?
It's a pretty decent blind pick, I think. A lot of teams have been playing it, mostly in mid lane. I actually asked Yamato Kennen how good he thinks it is, because we don't have that much experience with it. But you see it pop up here and there. But he said it was a really good blind pick.
I think malzahar is pretty good. When Azir is at the picture, then malzahar can do a lot of things. It's also a flex. Kind of denies OG the possibility to blind pick of course, the Shen again, because malzahar does so well into it. But something that I want to highlight as well is OG, once again, blind picked this bot lane that gets countered by Trundle. So it's a similar scenario to the first game.
Does this not say a lot about Hybrid when, you know, he gets target banned so often and he's got these patterns that are very easy and very similar? Maybe explaining why Origen are having some struggles this split.
Well, I think the main problem is that they have to show something, and they don't want to pick jungler for whatever reason, whereas most teams would first rotate the rek'sai here to wait with the support pick, maybe even not pick the sivirn, because you're going to get counterpicked by Lucian now, and Lucian is going to have priority the entire game.
Okay, so Young Buck, you see a malzahar first pick, you're on Origen, you've got your bottom lane. How do you react knowing that this malzahar's come up, knowing that you even don't have the most amount of experience as a team against this champion? What factors do you take into equation?
Well, I think today when we played game one against Splice, we reacted very well. We picked Gangplank mid lane, which is a champion that can farm really well against him, but I doubt that either of the players play Gangplank. But other than that, there's still Olaf jungle, which obviously can get ulted by the malzahar, so that would be a really strong pick, but they opt for the rek'sai instead.
There's just such a massive issue with what OG do once again. If they reveal their bot lane, then Schalke is just gonna reveal their bot lane in the next rotation. And then OG are in the same seat where they need to reveal a card. And Schalke, once again, are gonna have stronger matchups everywhere. Trundle is fine to go bottom into sivirn, braum. Sure, Gnar does fine into Trundle, but who cares? Just pick the Irelia and you have a counter matchup all across the board.
Well, looks to be the case here for Schalke. If they have a last-minute pivot to this tank front line, I can see you turning your nose up at this one, Yamato.
No. Pick Irelia. Don't lose fate. Don't lose fate.
Pick Irelia.
Why would you not pick Irelia? What's going through Schalke's mind?
No, you have to pick Irelia.
It's like they're thinking like, oh, they only won in team fights. We're gonna pick a stronger team fight and just pray that we out team fight them. Yay. That's not good. That's not good, man.
Okay, why meh?
I think Gnar is a really good lane against Jax, so Schalke is going to rely on either getting a lane swap or getting a lot of jungle help there.
I feel like Irelia is just a better version of Jax. I think it does very good into Gnar. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't pick it in this rotation.
Okay, now at what point do you look at the champion and you go, okay, Jax, Steve, am I afraid of Steve's Jax? You know, you're afraid of certain players' Jax. SoaZ with some help from Amazing, hey, that's kind of scary. Is Gilius on Elise and Steve plus Jax something Origen needs to be worried about?
I think in this particular matchup, something that is worth highlighting is that Jax scales better than Irelia, I feel, with items. Maybe that's the thought process of Schalke, but to be honest, I don't think I would shake if I saw Steve Jax.
I would actually shake if I see a Jax and Elise, because that's a very difficult combination to deal with 2v2 or 2v1. They can easily dive the Gnar.
So you believe in the champions, but do you believe in the players controlling the champions?
Always.
Oh, okay. I like that. Last lock-in here for PowerOfEvil. It is that Viktor. Viktor into malzahar as Captain Splice over here. You've got a bit more experience. Do you like this matchup? Do you think malzahar can push him in?
I think it's a rather even matchup. I think Viktor is very, very safe in the mid lane, can just skill up his laser and just farm away. I think it's a fine, decent matchup. Nothing to worry about.
We've got about a minute or so left. We got some strong predictions from you guys in game 1 that turned out near flawless. So, Young Buck, kick us off. Looking at those team comps, where's your favorites?
Schalke is going to win unless they snowball top lane.
I feel like Schalke is going to win as well, because in this case they have a stronger late game, a stronger early game. I think they outdrafted OG completely.
So we'll have to find out if Schalke outplay themselves like they did in game 1. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me for Picks and Bans here on Draft Breakdown. There's your team comps on screen for one last time. Hashtag Schalke win or hashtag OG win. You're voting for?
Schalke.
Schalke.
Schalke, that coaches have announced. We're going to head over to Stress and Pyra to take it away.
All right, let's get ready for this one. Schalke, they're going to have a climb to come back into this game. But we did hear it from the coaches. They prefer this composition. They prefer what Schalke's bringing to the party. And in all honesty, for about 35 minutes of this game, of that last game, Schalke had it won.
And they preferred the last comp as well that Schalke had. We will catch up with that as we go through. Origen, this time, have a lot better when it comes to the team fight setup that they want. We'll see whether they can catch a couple of team fights like they did at the end of the last game. And see whether Schalke can get ahead like they did in game 1 too.
What I really want to see is a little bit more proactivity from both of these teams. I think the fans are looking for some action as well early on, keeping an eye on Gilius on that Elise and see what he's able to do. We look like we're settling in for standard lanes this time, so we're already in for something a bit different.
Little different. I like seeing standard lanes. I want to see standard lanes with Toaster going up against MrRalleZ, of course, the new AD carry. On Origen's side, Toaster had a decent end to the game.
Yeah.
Last game.
And he wasn't really like doing poorly by any metric. No. It's just the whole team was kind of not pulling the trigger on anything.
Yeah, he was just kind of sitting back, farming up for a while. Still had a deficit against MrRalleZ for a lot of the game, but was a lot more reliant on getting himself up and out there later on. But it is a lane swap coming out now, and we are turning things around.
All right, well, we get the fast push again. Steven Gilius will be up in the double jungle. Sprattel and MrRalleZ have opted to stay down towards this bottom side. So we will get the pushes on. A lot of pings are flying, curiously enough, but there's a lot of vision in the river. No one's really getting through without being detected. Hybrid's going to make a move for it.
Now they go.
Toaster.
Okay, so they have shown, as have Schalke shown on the bottom side. So we have got that swap coming through.
All right. I want to pay special attention to the malzahar as well. We saw it once already today on this stream, at least, in the hands of Senkuk's first picked, or rather, excuse me, in the hands of Senkuk's first picked up. But on the other side, Schalke, they've got a lot of interesting single target elimination. If you can combine the Nether Grasp up with what Jax is able to do, obviously you want him in the side lanes, but like Giants proved last week, you still can get him into skirmishes and come out ahead. Yeah. It's all about getting that Steve up on the board.
Yeah, all about getting him into skirmishes, and I mean, the Young Buck and Yamato Cannon were talking about it. Get the Jax, get the Elise together. It's very, very strong 2 versus 2. As if they can get that against the rek'sai, the gnar, we're never going to happen really because we are in the lane swap. If you'll excuse me, I mind blank for a moment. That means we get a Voltron cam.
Yep.
Yeah. So we won't get the 2 versus 2, but if they ever find someone in a 2 versus 1 Pyra, they are dying really quick.
Oh yeah, well I think that's a pretty big indicator of not wanting to take any chances at all. There is some more to fight for on this map early on though, because if you'll notice in the bottom left of your screen, there's a Mountain Drake. It's not going to be relevant for a little while because it's still hard for the teams to take, being a little bit more tanky as well, and with the lane swap, nothing doing just yet. But since Schalke rather started on the bottom side, that in theory benefits Origen if they want to opt for it quickly.
Schalke are also pushing that little bit faster as well, although we'll see if they end up with the denial here as bot tower does fall. It's only by a couple of seconds, so shouldn't have too much repercussion, but you can see MrRalleZ had already recalled back to base, bringing himself back out of that a little bit faster. And we'll see what the knock-on effect of that actually ends up being.
Yep, keeping track of it, of course. So Toaster goes for the Cole, of course. It's going to be a longer, more drawn-out early game, which the towers just traded back and forth yet again. Origen, on their side, they have to be pretty pleased with what they were able to finish the game at, but still, they need to be choosing their fights, and rather than choosing to run away a little bit earlier on. With this composition, it's another Sivir comp. They've got a gnar, they've got the situational tankiness, and CC that he brings, combine it up with a Viktor, combine it up with a rek'sai.
Ooh,
they have some potential
SoaZ.
here. Let's see what sprattel's able to do to SoaZ as he finds him down in the, or up in the top lane and has a laugh.
Yeah, same thing happens again there as SoaZ got blocked off in the same way as he did in game number 1. Gilius now in the jungle farming away. Back to mid lane. We're going to keep our eyes on that mid lane matchup between the malzahar and the Viktor. But it's going to be a fairly even one to start this one off. As difficult to kill malzahar, difficult to kill Viktor as well. TP comes out onto the cannon creep. We see that time and time again. Keep that stronger creep alive for a little bit longer. A couple more tower shots gives you some advantage in the push, and you can keep going on towards the tower.
Yeah, it's the little things. And that's also what gave Origen the turn of the tide in the last game. Steve is going to be soloing up on top side, and the rest are actually backing early on this. With the wave, it should be clearly enough for them to take it, and Origen have opted to leave all their members down in the bottom side. Let's see if they end up turning for this dragon early on. It would be spotted by the ward.
It is also Mountain Dragon, so they are pushing on towards that tower for now. It's evened up a little bit of the timing because Origen actually aren't going to maybe not even get it on this wave. They've run out of minions. They have to back themselves away, so what had been evened up now, oh, hang on. Sprattel's heading into the lane. I don't think he knows rek'sai is around here.
I don't know about this one. He is outnumbered. 1 to 4 is never good odds, even with MrRalleZ adding a little bit in. He's going to burn a quick flash, but in goes amazing. Summoner heal pops Sprattel, trying to stay alive as Gilius comes to the rescue, but that will be first blood to Toaster.
Toaster grabs the first blood. Now they get the turret in exchange as well. Jack's got it top, but it doesn't really matter at that point. Origen have secured themselves the kill and the first blood for that, as PowerOfEvil has still got himself a bit of a lead in the mid lane, despite having to use his ghost at one point. So we will keep an eye on all of these matchups as this game continues.
Yeah, Origen aren't going to try to push their luck here. They won't be shooting for the dragon just yet. However, that was a great move by them and a real big blunder by Sprattel. He should have known he was wandering into sudden death. Maybe with the rek'sai not being around, it wasn't quite as effective, but it was still really weird. Let's take a look at that one again. Down on the bottom side, he thinks he can hold it.
Yeah, so Sprattel at this point caught under the tower, pushed too far up, and gets caught out. Sprattel now ends up just falling, then they back away for the turret. Jax had already taken the top side. That's just purely not really respecting the fact that rek'sai was there, as Origen were pushing up to the tower.
And now Hybrid is pushing up towards the top side, looking to collapse on Steve. He's being joined by Toaster, and the trap is sprung. Let's see if he can get out. Jumps on counter-strikes, but he does take a channel, or rather he does take a couple shots from the Braum, which means the concussive blows are coming in. Exhaust is down. Steve hops to the ward, but he's got nothing to fall back on. No tower, and they follow with the flash. Toaster is going to be able to get himself a second.
Second kill for Toaster, showing up in his debut performance. Will be extending his lead in the beginning when it comes to the kills. He is down in farm, but will be made up with that extra gold. Is actually 300 gold up on MrRalleZ currently. Schalke looking for the bottom tower, though, in exchange. If they can get that, that's a fairly large objective to be taking this early on, considering Origen aren't able to equalize it with one of their own. So Schalke taking objectives while Origen are taking kills. We'll see who it ends up benefiting.
Well, feeding the Sivir is definitely a good start to this game, but Schalke have managed to get some global gold for themselves. They are backing off here instead of trying to go for the dragon, but let's take a look at this one more time up in the top.
And again, Steve not respecting the numbers game. It was Sprattel first that does this. Now it's Steve. Auto-connected from Hybrid. And that's all that Steve could do from there. I'm not even sure whether it was worth flashing out, although he does get the flash from Hybrid and Toaster.
Yeah.
But then Toaster gets the kill.
I
feel like it's one of those ones where he was pretty dead, but was just trying desperately to survive.
Well, Steve has definitely had some struggles as of late. Last week, if you remember, he was pretty much outclassed by Wonder in the game they had versus Splice.
Oh, yeah.
You know, despite how much the crowd just loves cheering for him, it's been hard to find so many positives for Steve. Not that his performance individually has fallen off super hard, he just hasn't been enabled. SoaZ, no. He's going to be caught, though, and Steve might be able to get a little bit back in his pocket. Who do they give this gold over to? It's going to be MrRalleZ.
What is this game?
It's weird.
This is just people being in the wrong place in the side lane at the wrong time. Don't push up without your turret if you haven't got full vision control, and don't have people on the bottom side of the map. It's fairly straightforward setup. Origen will answer with a dragon.
Okay, so at least they'll get something, and then this time they're the ones who are trading objective-wise. This will help out with securing more of those objectives, but it's going down fairly slowly. It's just Schalke not reacting to it.
PowerOfEvil narrowly avoided gank in the middle lane there, and was playing on the wrong side of his lane. Nearly got Gilius coming into his lane for him, but Schalke couldn't quite get there in time. Dragon is going to go over to Origen, and they'll settle themselves into the bottom lane alongside Toaster. Fairly interesting. I was talking to some of the players in the lead up to this week that used to play with Toaster on an old UK team, FM Esports. Tundra was playing support with him for a while, and then the old analyst for Fnatic speaks very highly, Jarge, about Toaster. So they're talking a lot about how he's a mechanical player, but generally a lot of it is you tell him where to go and he'll do it really well, and he'll execute mechanically amazingly. But honestly, that's not what Origen need. Origen needs somebody in some position that can lead them around the map, and that was what Peke was good at. The mechanics, still good at, but got caught out a whole lot. So for Origen, I don't know whether this is quite the right fit for right now. This is the kind of fit that will work for them over a couple of splits. Really nurture a talent that's mechanically gifted with an in-game leader as well on the case of Origen, and maybe we'll see a lot of improvement from them later on down the line.
It's definitely evident from the way they played so far this game. They may have eked out that win on a big turnaround, but we just need to see a little bit more from this team in terms of shot calling, what they're able to do, making plays around the map in the early game. Toaster is also, kind of facing an uphill climb in terms of the meta. He's the kind of champions that he does prefer, the Vaynes, the Jinxes. They're not in vogue right now.
No, they not really in the meta right now, but he's happy playing Civ. It's a wave clear
he's got 2
kind
kills.
of champ. He's got 2 kills, having a good game. RNA will be happy about the 2 kills that have gone on to Toaster and the way that they can kind of control around the map from the early games. This is better out of Origen.
Yeah.
A lot better. They've been making active plays compared to game 1 where, we were talking about they were sitting very far back, not really doing too much. Schalke are struggling a little bit more than in game 1 against Origen, but still Schalke trying to play for this time when Jax is around and malzahar in fights later on.
Yeah, you got to take the mental impact into effect with Schalke. You could see it last week after the game with H2K, just how much things fell apart for them. And you have to be able to recover from that. A game 1 disappointment as SoaZ flashes away. Gilius didn't quite have the catch on him, but they will get some damage on this tower. Clutch, or not flash, sorry, hop.
Yeah, the hop, but it was the prediction cocoon ever so close. It's the kind of play that you try and make,
Gilius
and it's
burned
just
the
like,
flash.
Yeah, Gilius, but it's... What I mean is if that hits, everyone's like, oh, Gilius, such a good prediction.
And then if he misses, it's like, oh.
So credit for the attempt at the prediction on that one.
Yeah.
Nice try. Very close, SoaZ managed to avoid it.
A for effort. So they'll be able to clear a ward away from the Rift Herald now, still just pushing in the top side. They've left it away for Toaster to start farming it back up. You can see Origen moving around for the defense and keeping the vision clear for themselves, though. It's still a fairly quiet affair, just not on the same level that last game was.
Not quite, but last game was so slow up until 20 minutes. From this point to 20 minutes, we had like nothing happen in game 1 of this series. So maybe the fact that we've got a sivirn that has 2 kills and is starting to farm her way up, maybe we'll see a little bit more action. But here comes Amazing back onto the Rift. No dragons. Rift Herald is available right now, so the only dragon in the game has gone over to Origen with that Mountain Drake going over to them.
Yeah. Still keeping eyes on Steve to see if he is able to get ahead of this gnar in the matchup. It's going to be a little bit hard for him, but he does have a solid CS advantage. You'd think that Schalke would be the ones that are focusing on this Rift Herald to give him an edge and maybe give it a little bit more time so he gets that for longer. Remember, it's a very long buff and it persists throughout death.
Yep.
Origen, on the other hand, they're keeping everything warded up. They want to make sure they've got Schalke in their sights for as long as possible and to just keep letting Toaster absorb side lane farm until he's sitting on a couple of items strong enough for them to group and push.
I'm very interested to see how Schalke utilize this Jax as well, because Origen are one of the teams that has played Jax and picked him and then team fought with him and built tank after the Triforce. So I'm wondering whether Schalke will prioritize the side lane as you would normally expect. Gilius is the one that managed to get that red buff. It was smited away by him. It was secured. So yeah, Schalke, if they play the side lane, play the Jax out, SoaZ at some point is going to end up unable to deal with him. You can see 87 CS to 65. The lane matchup for gnar is good, but the later the game goes, it is not so great. gnar struggles to get away from a Jax and can't output enough damage before he turns into Gnar, and then Jax just keeps running straight through him.
Well, and there's a lot of catch potential here. When you've got a Malzahar, the suppression gets very real.
Oh, speaking of
he's going to
catch.
face check into this, and he has to quickly burn the flash, but it won't nearly be enough as Power of Evil lays on the Chaos Storm, and in the Chaos, they find one.
2 out of the 3 kills so far have been sprattel in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if you're on Origen's side, right time, because they've been catching him out a couple of times. Now they turn it into a Rift Herald. Will help them if they can get this onto SoaZ, but look how far away he is.
Gilius and Steve are here, but this is a 4-on-2, 5-on-2. There's no way they're contesting that.
Okay, they
taken down.
SoaZ.
It's going to be SoaZ they give the buff over to. So bad luck for Steve.
That'll help him. A little bit of damage reduction, a little bit of damage on top of it as well. Sprattel hit by the Q, and that's a dead trundle. Not too much to speak about on the Power of Evil's
Oh, yeah, they got the Nether Grass Bomb, and Fox is going to be able to finish that one off. He does take a lot of tower shots, but there's no one here to stop this. Just out of the blue, they pick up Power of Evil.
Ghost use, Flash use, malzahar going straight under a tower, results in the tower falling. Schalke fires straight back with a catch of their own. No way of Power of Evil from escaping that. Wasn't running anything like Cleanse, so can't get himself out of it, and Origen find themselves a man down as Drake is spawning.
Yeah, Gilius is going to start this one off along with the rest of his team. It should go over in Schalke's favor. No way to contest. Malzahar, with a whole lot of money, he backs off to the base, gets himself a needlessly large rod, and he's starting to rock and roll for sure.
Yeah, starting to get himself further and further into the game. So, I want to watch this Malzahar. Second one we've seen today. I want to see how much it can do. As we saw one in Challenger, Selfie dominated on Misfits with it.
I saw it very crucial for Splice's victory versus G2 earlier today. Coming up pretty big. Utilized a little bit differently, though. It's a different kind of composition for them, and it was a very different matchup.
Yeah, it was a different matchup, for sure. I mean, these are very different compositions as well with it. We've got a Jax alongside, so looking for the push. This is what happened. Looks like just Ghost Flash is coming. Yeah, here we go.
He even Ghost ahead of time. Oh, man. Good calling around the side, too. There's no way you're getting out of that trap.
So much damage comes out. Can't really get your way out of that one.
Yeah. So, Schalke, they keep themselves this little gold lead right now. The next dragon to be fought over will be Mountain. That'll be very crucial for both teams. But Origen have the first, remember. Gives them a little bit of an edge in trying to contest objectives and take them on. But Schalke have secured up the map off the back of that big mid dive. Toaster still on this side, farming up all the minions and working his way towards multiple items, still just sitting on the Essence Reaver for now. Origen are going to be pushing into this territory. It's still going to be a while before the next Drake comes up. We just saw the Ocean fall a little bit ago, and we've hit the 17-minute mark in this game. It has just been a game of trades.
It has been. I have to correct something I said about a minute ago. Power of Evil running Ghost because Cleanse will not remove a suppression. So not effective in that matchup against Fox.
Oh, yeah.
One of those unique interactions on Cleanse.
There's not a lot of suppresses in the game either.
QSS will work against it. QSS will work, Remove Scurvy will work, but Cleanse will not. So MrRalleZ, ooh, gotta get caught, maybe getting caught bot lane.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, gotta be careful there, Ralles. He has his Ghost Blade, but he's still working his way up for the Black Cleaver for everything else. Not a lot of damage he's able to put out just yet in this game. Origen, sensing a moment of weakness, are going to start pushing towards this bottom side, seeing if they can get a collapse on. It is a 3-on-2. Ralles, though, he's staying nice and safe in the back. Should be able to defend this tower, no problem. SoaZ, however, in the top lane is getting the big push on. Remember, he's got Glimpse of the Void. It's going to be hard for Steve to outmatch him.
Yeah, the thing is, Jax, the later and later and later it goes, going for the Blade of the Ruined King build, which is the I'm going to stick on you and just annihilate you, whether you're mini or mega. The old Jax build. Wonder whether we'll see the Gwynsus. You don't see it so much anymore.
No, but that was a fun time.
That was fun.
The start of the season. Well, it was fun if you're playing
it.
Yeah. Or like Tristana.
True, true.
Oh, man. That was a lot of fun. Fox is not having as much fun here as he has to back away from the tower. It's being pushed on by Origen, but they've run out of minions. In goes RalleZ, instantly Ghostblade into Culling. Hybrid tanks most of it. Still, it's a game of feeling things out. It's, you know, similar to last game in that both teams are probing for weaknesses, but they are making a lot more of an effort to do it.
Yes, but both teams are just running 1-4 comps, which means if nobody really feels like they have an advantageous position, nobody really engages. So it's up to kind of Toaster and the rest of Origen maybe to use that Sivir ultimate get themselves around the side, but Amazing's caught.
He is going to be caught. How tanky can he go? Steve goes in, but he can't get enough in time and has to flash back out. Misfire there from Schalke. They burn a summoner for it. Does trade for Amazings.
Yeah, flash for flash. Steve, however, is quietly powering up. And this is the difference between this malzahar comp that we're seeing and the one out of Splyce earlier. Splyce were running it with a teleport, so they're able to regroup a lot of distance when it came to pushing out side waves. If Fox ever goes to the bottom side or to the top where Steve isn't and looks to push it back out, there's no TP available. They can't bring him back to the fight to actually collapse and punish Origen.
And Origen just haven't really shown as many weaknesses. They're finding that they can find ones on Schalke, though. Steve was the counter-strike up, but it only hits Amazing. He hops, but the Glacial Fissure was just too much to slow him down. SoaZ will find him. Gnar near as Hybrid tanks the last tower shot. Origen will once again get out with only damage to show for it. Schalke cannot get in there and contest.
No flash available for Steve, and Origen go right for the teleport user. There was no help for Steve available, and they easily pick him off, and there has not really been a reaction coming out from Schalke. Fox is trying to shove mid lane. They have basically a neutral lane because it's pushed away from them in the bottom lane, so they can't actually do anything with it. The only things that SoaZ has to now reconsider is if he pushes up to that wave, they're actually going to end up potentially losing mid tower. So SoaZ comes mid.
Oh, and Gilius steals red buff.
Actually, SoaZ should have gone bottom. Toaster could clear through mid, and they can't play on the lane that MrRalleZ is in right now. So actually, there was a little bit of a miscommunication on Origen when it comes to their lane assignments, which was one of the issues that we looked at in the last game as being a problem for Origen.
Still working on those issues. Sprattel will slow down Toaster, throws on Frozen Domain, and is not able to chase into there, not feeling confident enough to take him out, but now they've turned their attention up towards topside. This tower is going to be done real quick, but the minions are also falling. They'll have enough damage to take it out, and Toaster gets chunked before Hybrid comes in to stop the bleeding.
And now Schalke looking for mid.
They might be able to get it off this. This was enough with Toaster having to still clean up on top side.
They got Viktor, though. PowerOfEvil can hold this with Aftershock. He's got enough AP that it means Schalke will back away.
Pixel or two away from PowerOfEvil getting cocooned. Amazing is still here. They're looking to contest. The Dragon is up in 7 seconds right now. This mountain is going to be so crucial. Can Origen get in here to fight it? Toaster hadn't backed away, but he's not close enough. Origen aren't looking to contest this.
Not for now. They do see that Schalke are kind of split, though. Jax and Elise will be able to do this easily as a two-person stack. Steve doesn't yet feel confident enough about going up against SoaZ, despite SoaZ being in Gnar form. Obviously, he doesn't want to get ulted into the wall, doesn't want to get walloped and locked down, but still, Steve is getting closer and closer to the point where he's able to actually take this fight. Amazing uses ult to top sides. There's no real way of stealing. Look at how effectively those minions tank. Easy, nobody takes damage on Schalke, and they're able to back themselves away.
Plainly taking the Mountain Dragon. That'll be the first for them, and Origen couldn't really do anything about it, so that definitely helps Schalke the further this game goes. Waiting on that Jax, ticking time bomb, but still, grabbing objectives will be even easier after all this is said and done. Gilius throws down the ward inside of his own jungle, spotted as well by Origen, who just continue to try to play this back and forth game. It's all been about who can get the most vision in each other's jungles. That's pretty characteristic of both of these junglers as well. Even in the lane swap situation, they haven't had as much to do in the lanes. They just keep moving around the opposite side. Origen now looking to push on mid, and it was uncontested momentarily, but there goes another grab onto Power. He pops the Ghost, but he couldn't go anywhere. And now Hybrid taking a lot of damage. Double tap from the Lucian. MrRalleZ flashing forward. Now it's Amazing who's backing out, and Fox flashes in. Not enough damage, but the Malefic Visions will finish the job.
Gets him with the dot. Fox clearly plays a Warlock at that point. MrRalleZ once more.
Toaster, he has a spell shield, but he's also burning down off the back. MrRalleZ is a little bit low. Voidlings come in to tank the damage of the tower. They've run out of minions for a few more moments. Origen, can they hold the line here? MrRalleZ ducking, dipping,
Toaster.
diving, and dodging, but Gilius, look at the damage he's dishing out. Toaster is on his last legs. The tower falls. Schalke make a big power move.
Schalke push right at mid. Hang on, here comes SoaZ cutting in from the bottom side. I don't think he can actually group just in time to stop SoaZ from, to stop Schalke from pulling back, actually, but man, that was a bit of a hectic moment. Origen should be able to finish pushing this mid lane tower here, although SoaZ has just turned Mega, but just the minions plus, no, they got no range.
No, they just
champion
can't do
here.
it.
They can't get it. With SoaZ in Mega Gnar, they cannot afford to push up.
Another Nether Grasp. Amazing. He's taking tower. He's interrupted from getting back. The gnar doesn't knock anyone backwards, and now they're on the retreat path. Goes into mini Gilius, having to cocoon flash away to save his own life. Origen still can't finish this tower.
No, they're not going to be able to get it for now. SoaZ, more dots,
no.
more
Jumps
dots.
on.
Stop
It's
dots.
3-0 in this one. They just keep getting the catch on. Origen and run out of steam before it begins.
Oh man, just this damage coming out from malzahar in these fights is too much to handle for Origen right now, and they're trying to force mid lane time and time again. RalleZ on the top side does have sprattel around him and will be able to back himself away, but Origen were looking to collapse. But man, Origen, again, they've kind of had this, they had a decent start in this game, but have regressed back to just kind of receiving what Schalke are giving them.
Oh man, and now Origen feel the same pain as they had last game, unable to finish off a mid-tier turret as the game progresses. 25 minutes into this one, sprattel now is found hybrid, and in comes RalleZ, instantly Ghost Blades into calling. Amazing was body blocking for hybrid in all of that. Won't be enough to finish them off, but they do secure the vision yet again.
Here we go, Steve versus SoaZ. Is this a moment Steve feels confident enough?
Still glimpse of the void on. I don't think the answer is yes. Not
Jump on him, jump on him, Steve. At some point, Steve is going to feel confident enough to just queue to SoaZ as soon as he sees him. One of the difficulties is SoaZ does have a Warden's Mail, so he's slowing the attack speed, and Mega Gnar was building. Although when you're in Mega Gnar, your dueling potential is actually significantly lowered when it comes to your damage output, unless you hit all of your crowd control, because your attack speed ends up so slow. So this Black Cleaver build is a lot better in Mini Gnar at dueling, but Steve just throws Counter-Strike on and you end up doing nothing from it.
Well, that's secondary affair now for Schalke, who really are critically thinking about keeping the vision in this jungle. It's 26 minutes into this game. They can start to force on Baron. There's TP for both top laners. And let's see if Origen can really contest. You can see Toaster and PowerOfEvil were a little bit back at base. SoaZ is going to head back as well. Do they now try to start this in the hopes of getting a bait? Doesn't look like it.
I don't know. I don't know whether I want to bait against gnar, Viktor, sivir.
That's a good point.
It's the only problem. If you end up in a team fight around terrain, good luck.
Okay, hey, Origen are going to do it. So, 26.5, they finally finish off tanking the tower in the middle, giving them some much-needed gold. Speaking of the gold, it's really only been about 3K, but Origen have lost more than they've given. As you said, they reverted a bit more back to taking what Schalke were offering, and that was the turret in the middle this time. The next dragon to come up will be the Infernal. That is a Drake definitely worth fighting for, and Origen are going to need to scrounge some map control back to get it.
They're going to need some wards for either team to get any kind of vision control, because neither team even cares about Dragon right now. You can see on the map. Here we go. Steve wants it.
Didn't get the Counter-Strike he wanted.
Here we go.
Gnar there. Here we go, even with Glimpse of the Void. SoaZ now, he's going to go in, getting the shot on, and the duel will slow down for just a second. The chase keeps on coming. The boomerang kite. Does SoaZ have it? No, the jump to flash, followed by SoaZ.
Going to try and heal up a little bit off the minions.
What a tense moment. And Power's going to...
No,
let the 1v1 happen. What are you doing, Power? Okay, turn his attention. Gravity Field, Chaos Storm. Goodbye, Steve.
The sacred 1v1 interrupted. We'll never find out. Schalke at this point could have just said, okay, let's go Baron, but now they're pinging it. They're a little slow on this.
The reaction time. They're going to set up the trap in the brush. This is not spotted by Origen, but are they moving into it? Doesn't look like it.
Origen have 2 blue trinkets available right now. There is no way a bait is going to work in the numbers disadvantage. And SoaZ is pushing bottom lane right now. So Origen are getting the benefit of all of this happening.
Calling the bluff of Schalke. Origen will be able to push more down on the bottom side with SoaZ a little bit low. No one there to oppose him, and no more teleports available until Steve comes back on up. Origen have actually snatched Baron control away from Schalke as they take down the tier 2. This puts the gold even closer to them.
Origen hanging on again.
Ghost
Schalke want to go.
RalleZ, he finds Toaster. He's really low, and RalleZ will take him down. The full channel continues, and Fox jumping onto Power. Gilius following. That's a double for RalleZ, and they snap the trap, and this time, Baron's for real.
1 second of mispositioning means Toaster eats a full culling. And boy, was it delicious for Schalke at this point. It's going to result in a Baron. Steve is already preemptively looking through the jungle for his next target. Now with the Baron buff, can absolutely take SoaZ in that side lane, especially if any minions are around it. But Steve did use his TP, so won't have that available for him.
Dragon going down a little slowly, though.
Schalke are coming down to cut into this.
Yeah, they might have to fight this one over. It does finally get smited, so Origen will manage to get that consolation prize. Goes great for them the longer the game goes.
They're picking Amazing.
But they're going to look for Amazing. Can he get out in time? He's got the Guardian Angel, and he's going to need it. No help is coming for this rek'sai. He flashes right into the cocoon, however, as Gilius comes around the side. They kill him once, and it looks like, in all honesty, they're going to kill him again.
Yeah, but look at what happened in that exchange. So yes, Baron went over. We'll take another look back at how Toaster got caught. Was it just a stray binding or cocoon? Toaster tried to go through past the trundle pillar and ended up getting locked down. Just couldn't get himself out. And ultimately what happens from this trade is the Baron goes over to Schalke, but now they had to deal with a bot lane wave. They got chased around the map. Origen get the Infernal Dragon. Top lane is still pushing towards them. So what it actually results in is half of this Baron buff almost not being too effective for Schalke. So Origen are able to kind of stem the flow a little bit for the first half of Baron buff. Schalke will still be happy with this. It gives Steve the ability on the side lane to keep pushing in, but Origen, look at how they're trying to punish already.
Bait the trap again. Steve, will he wander right into it? He's getting dangerously close, and surprise! Let's see if he can get something back. Toaster already a little bit low, but there's the braum stun, exhaust, hop. Not enough damage in the 1v3. Toaster will get the kill.
1v3 as the rest of Schalke push up through the mid lane, but they can't push onto the inhibitor turret right now because PowerOfEvil is defending again. One of the main factors for why Schalke couldn't end in the last game with such a lead was that PowerOfEvil was wave clearing with Toaster. They were just constantly pushing back the Schalke lineup, and I mean, it seems to be the same story again. Schalke get themselves the Baron and cannot make enough headway off the first Baron to really put a crippling blow onto Origen.
They've got to put the full game away. Schalke weren't able to do it last time. Right now, Origen have still managed to get a bit back. 1 minute remains and some change on the Baron buff. Let's see what they can work with. Everyone from Origen's up the middle contesting these Baron-empowered minions. Forgotten is the 4-1.
Yeah, at this point...
Well, not anymore. Steve's back.
Steve's back, but his TP is still not available, so Schalke have to be somewhat careful. SoaZ is about to hit gnar, but doesn't really have too many options for getting into fights from the front side. We'll be looking to hop flash in, but...
He was a stone's throw away from Gilius, but Schalke weren't able to push on that. It's going to be the push in the mid. SoaZ backs away in Mega form, but there's still no wave here. Schalke running out of time to utilize this Baron buff a little bit further. MrRalleZ steps a little far forward.
Playing with fire somewhat. Schalke again trying to use that pillar just to land damage initially from some of their abilities, but you can see MrRalleZ and Gilius have been chunked.
Steve is hanging around in this jungle. Let's see what he does, pushing up towards this top side now. If Schalke can buy enough time, but you can see instantly Origen are reacting. They're turtling in this base, but they're denying. And
the thing is, this is where lane assignments is so important, because Steve doesn't have Baron buff. You can afford to very easily clear away the minions. Could have even done that with the Viktor, but it's fine for Toaster to go up there because they'd already repelled mid lane. So all it is just stopping the Jax before you can ever push up. While you're inside your base, you're also safe that he's never going to be able to kill you. You can dodge out that counter-strike very, very easily. And now Steve has to resort to going back to the bottom lane to clear it out. And sure, he's got a lot of attack damage, but he ain't clearing that out quickly at all.
Yeah, this has definitely been a really interesting game, a really weird game in the way it's been paced. And you know, you think the longer the game goes, it's benefiting Steve on this Jax. It gives him more time to get more items, to get less killable. But Origen, they're not presenting a target here.
No, but their sivirn is up on the top side without any way of grouping with the team, and they are pushing over wards, which is a little dangerous. But it's only trundle there. There's no real way for Schalke to regroup.
Okay, fight over that blue buff. Let's do it. Amazing gets the smite on, denying from Fox. And he even gets away from Sprattel's pillar. Steve, after pushing the minions away, will start to move back towards the mid lane right now. Origen controlling this part of the map for the time being. Another Infernal Dragon's a minute and a half away. It's really been all about stacking the buffs, seeing who comes out on top when they butt heads.
And that's the thing, is Origen's Dragon, the fact they grabbed themselves an Infernal has been helping them out. Mountain was helping them earlier.
Wait a minute. Yeah, one last chance. It's not actually going to be because the Elder Drake is what's coming up next. Ignore that. Quick take a look down to the Dragon Pit will show that off.
Barely. We were like 3 seconds out.
Yeah, it seemed very plausible.
Elder Dragon's coming up.
I was a little surprised by that one. So the Baron's also coming back up, but as we said before, Origen kind of held Schalke from making the most out of it this game. We'll see if they can make the most out of this fight. However, as Hybrid, it tanks the entire channel of the Culling. Unbreakable indeed. sprattel trying to get involved, but he can't do much more than take a boomerang.
Steve trying to push bot lane again, trying to play out on that side lane, but he's not had the most success. He's not been any kind of monster because of the way that Origen put their focus on Steve fairly early on. And from there, Steve hasn't had the security and safety. So, Elder Dragon in 25, Baron in just over a minute. Fox will finally get himself a blue.
He had to go all the way over to the other side of the map to do it, but he's got one back now. The gold lead has stayed in Schalke's favor, but it means less and less the more this game goes. We're approaching the 35-minute mark. That's when things really get real. Gilius stepping forward for amazing. Fires a Prey Seeker in return. MrRalleZ has isolated him, but he tunnels away.
Out of there. He gets himself out safely. Again, we see this bottom lane. SoaZ is very tanky. He has himself Randuin's.
Okay, the counter-strike's not going to hit. SoaZ does stave him off for now, but he takes a little bit of damage for his trouble. And you can see the wards for Schalke. They look to be focusing on this bottom side where the Elder Dragon has now just spawned.
It's a dangerous game, though, because we've already seen how fast Origen can decisively go for Baron in the last game when they had the position. So
they're all here, too.
It's Origen with the grouping now. Yeah, Gilius is top. Why is Gilius top with their smite is just not there?
Okay, they tag it, but they
don't. But Origen should just go.
Have enough. Sivir on the hunt here. They're looking for Fox.
They want
Fox.
Have
enough to find him? But immune for a second. Flashes, burn for flashing. Comes Gilius around the side, but they keep on chasing. Now they turn their attention to Gilius, who has to flash out of the Chaos Storm. They tag him on the back, but look at that Fox around the back. They find Hybrid. RalleZ on a rampage, and in goes Steve around the backside. A 4-man counter-strike. Double kill over to RalleZ, and now SoaZ running for his life, trying to kite out with the boomerang. Schalke in the lead. Let's see what they can get.
Well, they're not really getting anything yet. Toaster just got out. sprattel didn't stop his recall. I don't know whether he had vision of him. Schalke want to push for the inhib. Bizarre call from Origen to go for a kill on a mid laner when Elder Drake had spawned and the enemy jungler is on the top side of the map with no way of grouping fast enough. Sure, Elder takes a long time to take down, but by no means was it ever going to be enough time for Gilius to regroup.
Origen looks like they had the edge there, but Fox finally turns it around and Schalke group and get a massive Jax joining them. Now onto the Baron here, no reaction possible. Amazing still doesn't have Void Rush, no tunnels even in the area. And though they know it's happening, they can't do a damn thing. 37 minutes in, Schalke grab another Baron.
Truly bizarre call out from Origen to just run across the middle lane for a champion that had both summoners and spell immune and crowd control immune and a silence and everything in between. Really, really odd. Now Origen are going to try and bait. I mean, maybe they'll get some success here, but Steve has his TP from the top side. It's going to be enough for them to get the Elder Drake here. There's no real way of Gilius grouping fast enough to get onto this. Although they are running out with Home Guard, they are closing the gap. So Origen, if they get this down, may choose to fight after this. SoaZ is nearly Mega Gnar.
Oh, and he throws the boomerang hopping out. They don't have enough to finish him off, and they denied with the pillar. However, look at the damage they're turning onto sprattel. He's healed it, or rather he had the shield for it all the way back up. And there is going to be Origen picking up Elder Drake. Let's see this fight again, or the chase, I should say.
Yeah, the chase comes up. Fox spell immune, flashes away, gets his ghost popped as well, and Origen then turn towards Gilius, but do not respect the damage that is going to come from malzahar onto Hybrid, and they follow it up. Steve, beautiful 4-man stun.
And that was it.
Hasn't had the best of games with Origen focusing him as a weak point, but Steve, big stun lands, is able to catch him out. He got walloped.
Oh, and he had
no vision was around the corner, I think. We had the wrong vision toggle at that point.
All right.
It's okay.
Well, back to reality. In the present, Schalke looking to push with the Baron empowerment onto this bottom wave, but it's Baron versus
Jax unanswered top lane
Elder,
with Baron buff as well.
Steve's waiting. Here goes SoaZ. SoaZ is nearly Mega Gnar, though.
But
Can he fight this one out?
SoaZ can't clear. They somehow have to deal with multiple waves.
That tower is getting shredded through right now. They are able to clear some waves, but it's already down to half its health.
As is top, though. SoaZ is a slow clear on these Baron up minions as well. So as long as Schalke don't end up getting engaged upon bottom lane, Amazing's looking for the flank from the side.
They know he's here, though.
They do, but this is still risky from Schalke. If RalleZ pulls up to that wall, Amazing can get on top of him.
All right, they have enough to finish the job. Fox spelling me, they turn onto Amazing, but it's Gilius who tanks one shot from Hybrid, throwing on the Unbreakable.
Top's already down.
Top is down, he can't contest. SoaZ unable to do it, and they take another turret. The walls are starting to crumble for Origen here, as their hopes of a 2-0 are slowly draining away. Schalke should look to get an inhibitor. Steve is definitely going to get the inhibitor. And there's not much base left for Origen.
No, there's almost nothing left for Origen. They're losing bottom side as well. Here comes the engage, though.
Desperate fight. Can they get it? SoaZ nearly Mega Gnar. Can he hop in? In goes Hybrid. Glacial Fissure. They shut down Fox, and they look for the
But
chase.
look at the base.
RalleZ, though, is turning around, but Steve is doing Jax things on the base. One Nexus tower is going to fall. He turns to the other. They just need to buy the time. RalleZ with the double kill. RalleZ is going to pop the Guardian Angel, and SoaZ and Toaster desperately trying to hang on. The last Nexus turret is gonna fall, and Steve gives his life. It's only Nexus. Schalke are gonna do it.
Schalke, they're gonna take him out. Toaster's trying to get the damage, but it's not meant to be.
40 minutes and Schalke, GG. What a game, and
Whew, it was a side